Hello everybody, welcome back. Good evening. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. I am. I didn't stream yesterday, and I'm sorry for that. It was kind of on me. I don't know. I was doing some shopping and I got a little bit too into it that I didn't even realize how late it was in the night. So, and we had so much to talk about yesterday too. I just ended up skipping it entirely. So, yeah, once again, that's on me. But we're back. We're going to be discussing everything that happened yesterday. It was a huge day. Monday. Today's Tuesday. And today, in contrast to yesterday, not much has come out. So we don't got to worry about catching up too much. But it might be a very news-heavy day today. So we're going to be getting into all that. What we will be discussing is Russia-Ukraine. Some crazy developments there. Apparently, Putin's residence was attacked. We'll be getting into all those details. We also have Netanyahu visiting Donald Trump, talking about Iran and strikes. And also, Trump just decided to mention, yeah, by the way, we also bombed Venezuela. That's not a big deal, which is crazy. We'll get into that too. And huge Somalian, Minnesota case fraud going on there. Apparently something with daycares. We'll be getting into all of that as well. The Department of Justice and the FBI have been giving their extensive investigations into all of that, so we'll be taking a look at that as well. And then some general crypto analysis, of course. What do you call this chart pattern, guys? What happened yesterday? It wasn't just crazy news day, but it was crazy volatility as well for Bitcoin. So we had a huge rise. We were seeing this happen live in our nightly stream 2 days ago. And we were predicting that it would slow down at about 90,000. Exactly that happened. It slowed down at 90,000 and immediately decided to turn around and just erase all the gains as if none of it ever happened. Should I have sold my position there? Yes. Did I still sell? Yes. I didn't make that much profit, and I ended up rebuying a little lower. I'm content with where I purchased. My old purchase was 87,700, I think, or 800, something around there. I decided to sell, as this was kind of coming down because I put a stop loss in positive territory, just barely. The next morning I woke up, saw price was a lot lower. We actually dipped to a low of 86,759 from 90,362, our high at the time, which is crazy. And yeah, like, what do we even do here? What do you call this chart pattern? But whatever. This was to be expected, and for good reason. There was the CME gap that we kind of alluded to that got filled up with this drop, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. And I mean, that may or may not have been the opportunity to re-enter if you were late to the trend flipping. The trend line itself, it worked very perfectly, and it still is working perfectly. I think this is indeed the end of that downtrend. Things might start going up from here. And what perfect timing. We're at the end of the year. Today's December 30th. That still has not processed in my brain. Tomorrow will be the 31st, the last day of the year. And you still had no maidens, if you know what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding though. But let's see. Just to scroll back a bit, can I please go to the daily chart? Thank you. This downtrend line comes from our all-time high on October 6th. When we hit 126,000 on Bitcoin. We did our October 10 liquidation event. It was awesome. We all loved it. We all had a huge liquidation event. And then this downtrend later got supported by the 28th of October, which would have been the day that it was a sell the news event of us getting a very nice rate cut that we so desperately wanted. And when we did get it, we just ended up dropping even harder because that's how the market works, okay? Nothing works in your favor. And we had a huge drop. I got stop hunted, eventually getting liquidated. We dropped to a low of 80,600. This all happened over the course of the past couple months, right? Now, this downtrend line, we've been overshadowed by it. We've had our little rise. We had our, what was this pattern called? The bull, no, it was a bear flag pattern or whatever, because we were rising pretty well, and then we ended up dropping again to whatever this was, 83,000, recovered from that, been sideways and decaying, and still overshadowed by this downtrend line, which we were following with the super trend at that time. Now, without moving that downtrend line, we respected it very well on the morning of December 22nd, and you could argue that during Christmas, December 25th and 26th, we've been poking through that line, not being able to close a candle above it. Now, I know I wait for confirmation for the super trends to be flipped, which I did, and we kind of did see this happening in real time on our stream 2 days ago. And I don't know, maybe I would have adjusted the downtrend line, but ultimately this is what it would have looked like, right? It can't hold back any longer. It breaks out really hard. Makes a huge correction because everybody goes max long and nobody learns their lesson on leverage. Sure. How low did we go though? Not lower than the downtrend line itself, meaning that we used it as a form to kind of bounce upward once again. We didn't close a candle below that, and either way, the uptrend, which now looks like this, by the way, invalidates at 86,000 itself, which is where I had another trigger order, which is where we have pivot support levels, which is all just coinciding so perfectly. Great. Should I have bought more? Probably. What I plan on doing, I saw a video a long time ago talking about adding to, I forget from who it was from, and I forget even what the title was. It was something you add to your winning trades instead of adding to your losing trades. Now, you can add to your losing trades, kind of a martingale strategy or a DCA, whatever you want to call it. Sure, it can work. I have been doing that. It works until it eventually doesn't, and you've put in so much that you just lose most, if not all of it, which happened to me when Bitcoin dropped to 80,000. Sure, okay, fine, I'll accept it. It was my risk, and the government's reward, right? Because they love the taxes, don't they? I should get a refund. Whatever, man. So there's that. To, you know, buy when price keeps going lower. But what I maybe plan on doing is buy while price keeps going potentially higher. What I mean by that is using stop loss to my advantage, of course, in a positive territory, meaning that I will not lose money no matter what here. Bitcoin can rise as much as I can, as it wants. If it does, great. I'll consider taking profits, sure. But if it does retrace and doesn't hit my stop loss, kind of like what I don't know, would you say today was a bit of an example of that? I wouldn't say so. It's a bit too early. I still have good expectations for this week. If price does go a little lower, doesn't hit my stop loss, I rebuy more, which, yeah, it'll increase my average price, but I'll also increase my stop loss to prevent myself from losing anything. And I'm basically doubling down on my position risk-free with more upside potential because I now have more volume, more exposition in the market, so to speak, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's kind of the thing that's been going on in the back of my mind because I'm now starting to believe, like, oh, are we really going to hit 86,000 ever again? I'm not going to say ever again. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll have a big crash in 2026. And there's good reason for that to happen, by the way. Recession, I don't think that's going to be in the question anymore because odds are no longer in that. And we're getting a lot of rate cuts. We're expecting a lot of liquidity. We should be rising on that news, but no one cares. Sure, fine. What can drop us next year is potentially wars, I would expect, at least. Based off the conversation that Trump had with Netanyahu, it doesn't look very pretty. And I would assume yesterday's drop... This was from this morning. No, this is from yesterday. 3-8... What? I have to zoom in. Hold on. When did we start going lower? Like, actually lower? Here it is. It was at 4:30 a.m. You know what? There's no excuse. They just decided to dump at 4:30 a.m. Sure. But the worst of the worst happened at 7 a.m. Yeah, there's no excuse for that one either, honestly. Sure. Oh, didn't we get FOMC minutes? Remind me to review that. I didn't have an article pulled up for this. FOMC. Mins. I'll review that later. because we do have to go get into that. I've just been preambling for so long, and I have not even talked about Bitcoin's actual price yet. I would expect that Israel-Iran war would make us crash in 2026 if that does happen again. It's either that, it could be maybe something Venezuela, maybe. Somehow Russia, Ukraine may be escalating. Yeah, I know we're trying to get peace talks going in, but Ukraine attacked Putin's residence. Spoiler alert. We'll be getting into that, like I said, more in detail later. So I don't want to go too much into detail for that, but that's what I would expect maybe. Just one good old-fashioned crash, not a big problem. It's a good opportunity for entering. It's also a great opportunity to get your positions liquidated if you're not prepared. So use a stop loss. Okay. Bitcoin's current price is 88,600. We're doing the thing with the thumbnails again where the price is going to stay at the same number for the next 4 days. We're at 2 out of 4 days, including today. So we'll see. What I'm talking about, if you look at the thumbnails on my videos, I include the prices of Bitcoin there, and it was 87,000 for 4 days in a row. Let me pull this up. And then it was, actually before that it was 88,000 for 4 days in a row. Then it was 87,000 for 4 days in a row. Now we're back at 88,000. We're at 2 days in a row. Just need 2 more days of us, staying at 88,000. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin is not going to move. Or maybe it actually doesn't. I don't know, because New Year's Day, I think the stock market is closed. It should be. I can review that. Thursday, yeah, no economic data, guaranteed stock market closed. It's the 1st of January. I'll also, with a new job that I started, will not be working on January 1st. So I'll have the day off there, which is great. I get to set up everything up, and dude, I have so much to talk about. I don't know. I bought a new desk yesterday, a new desktop, and I'm going to be putting it, obviously, in my room. I'm replacing this old setup, which I hate because it's so old and it's peeling and falling apart, and it's disgusting and full of old books that no one reads. Me sometimes trying to read, but that's about it. And there's nowhere to put stuff either. Like, it's so inconvenient. The cabinets are tiny, and the shelves, I hate it, okay? So we're going to be replacing all that with something that doesn't have that many shelves or cabinets, which is probably worse. But I really like the desk that I selected. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be able to fit my 2 good old monitors, because you know how they have like the platform on top? I could just pull up the picture, can't I? I don't want to dox myself though with pulling up the image on Amazon and it dropping my address right on the screen for everyone to see. So allow me to pull this up in a different tab. See, it's already asked, get out of here. Why are you asking for a passkey? It's arriving tomorrow, by the way. Here, can I, you know what? I'm just going to screenshot this and show you. Okay, here we go. This is what I purchased. It's so nice, isn't it? Okay, so what am I talking about here? My 2 monitors, this is kind of backwards. Like, I would put these 2 monitors that I use for my streaming, like, right over here. And the monitor that I'm getting from work, I'm going to the office to pick that up tomorrow, is going to be over here. So I'll have one big monitor over here. I will obviously need 2 separate keyboards and mouses because, number one, I'm going to get an office keyboard and an office mouse, which is not that nice to look at. I don't know, it's too basic. It's not for me, right? I'm more of a fancy guy. I'm more of a LED guy. So on my regular setup with my 2 monitors, I'll have my actual, my gaming keyboard, my gaming mouse and everything. It'll look very nice. I really like this cup holder too, by the way, because my cup, or my bottle rather, my water bottle, it's always just like right there in the middle of my 2 screens, like right over here. This looks, okay, pause, you know what? Gonna undo all that. So yeah, the cup holder will be nice. This is also to change the height of the desk, right? You can stand up, you don't need to use a chair, or you can, lower it. And the lowest point is basically what I have as my current standard desk to sit down on, which is just excellent. So I could work sitting or standing, which is probably good, because I did the same thing in the past when I worked. I'm basically doing the same kind of work. 4 years I was doing that work, and at that time I only had my laptop. I didn't have like a full actual desktop setup with like a huge PC and everything, right? Like my PC would be over here. Yeah, so that's going to be the new difference now, and I needed more space to fit in all this stuff. I'm probably boring you guys with the subject, but I don't care because it matters so much to me. The headphone holder is going to be excellent. I could put my headset there, and I can put my next work mouse and keyboard right over here. Right? That's just perfect. It all works. And all these random books and stuff, I could like put them all around over here. I don't care. Maybe a printer. My printer could put it over here. And then, I don't know. I'm getting way too excited. I was looking at this all day today for whatever reason. But I'm just excited for it. So yeah. That's what I was doing yesterday. I was shopping for that. And I was like measuring as well. Like making sure that it will fit in my room. I did find other ones, but they were like either too small or too large. Oh, what I wanted to show, the reason I originally brought this up. Let me go back to the picture. I know. The reason I brought this up is because the monitors that I have, apparently, this top part, can I please draw? It's not going to let me draw, but whatever. The top part, I'm not able to fit on like the other desks that were offered. Like my monitor stand, it's too big. It doesn't fit on the platform itself. This one does though. It's like spacious enough, I guess. Large enough, thick enough. Okay. You get it, right? It fits. It's nice. And it's going to be awesome. So I can't wait for that. All of that aside, let's talk about Bitcoin now, yes? We're on the rise, which is nice to see. 90,000 is still going to be your important resistance. After breaking that, we're going to 92,500. You could estimate that to be. I don't know if we're going to really go higher than that. I would still be optimistic to maintain our uptrend, meaning that even if we drop to 86,000, you're still in an uptrend, you're fine. Great opportunity to buy, actually. And if this does happen, I will be dropping about 3,000 in there, not a problem. Now I'm fearless. Now that I do have a source of income, I'm willing to just be reckless again with my trades. Probably not, though. I still want to be conservative. I still want to be thinking about what I do. I don't want to just gamble, of course. What are you, a gambler? But yeah. So that's the plan for now. Sticking with 3x leverage, of course, not changing that. Never again. Okay, great. Good day for Bitcoin. In other words, Ethereum 1.45% up today, 2,978. How did we do yesterday? So we had our rise breaking the downtrend line, which is excellent. Confirmed uptrend, which invalidates at where our support level is, 2,865. Sure. That's where the uptrend invalidates, so we can finally delete this. Are we fully done with the altcoins yet, though? No. With Bitcoin, yes, we're done with downtrends. There is no more downtrend on Bitcoin. It's up only from here. Not financial advice, not guaranteed, and we will drop tomorrow because I said that. With altcoins, however, if Bitcoin does perform well, upon the minimum roadblock that Bitcoin encounters, altcoins will obviously encounter whatever downtrend they have next, which in Ethereum's case, it's looking like, I don't know, giving it more time, it's looking like it could be at 4,000, let's just say. But I'm talking like very far in the future. We don't know for sure when that's going to happen. But we do have like one big downtrend line that overshadows some altcoins that can mean significant resistance for a lot of them, of course. And it's not just in Ethereum. I'm going to finish talking about this here. 2,977 for Ethereum. Resistance is where our highest point was hit, which was 3,055. Right on the dot, which is quite excellent. I like the price action. And this time I'm happy with what I'm seeing. Prices start trending upwards once again. And we do have a solid uptrend for Ethereum here too. Great. I think I clicked on something I shouldn't have. Great, thank you. Please go back. Let's go to Solana. That's up 2%, $125.55. I'm glad we did not crash too bad, especially after the big rise. The big rise that we had on Sunday invalidated all the downtrends. So uptrends confirmed for Bitcoin, and the rest of the market. We did see early signs of it for Zcash and Aptos, and maybe another select few that I don't really look into every day, but it was nice to see that everything is finally, you know, trending upwards. What is... oh, okay, I thought it was Solana here. Okay, not Solana. Never mind. I didn't realize this. Okay, sure, fine. Solana is still technically in a downtrend, I guess. We did hit our resistance there at 130 as predicted. We dropped and we're currently at 125. Okay, so we're not out of the woods yet for Solana. I thought we were. I was looking at Bitcoin's chart, man. How can you do this to me? What is Zcash doing? Zcash is still maintaining itself high at 530. We hit a high of 555. We're going to 580 next. I don't think we're hitting 630. I'd stop it at maybe 600 for this week specifically. Super trend is on the rise still, which invalidates its uptrend at 468. Very, very strong. Like what I'm seeing with Zcash. Don't think we're going to drop down here for a minute. And I'm going to delete whatever this is because that is no longer valid. Please get out. Thank you. Okay. Good stuff. And yeah, like I was mentioning, Zcash is one of the few that had an early trend confirmation and still a negative funding rate, by the way. So if you got in there, great. Okay, never mind. Not a lot of the altcoins really flipped their trend around. Hyperliquid is still bearish. And it's still right at that price where I was deciding to short. Interesting. So we got no movement from Hyperliquid, which is impressive to say the least. So this downtrend line, where does this come from? This is an older one. It did technically like break due to time, but we didn't really rise enough. We didn't rise above 27, so that's what's required for Hyperliquid's uptrend to be confirmed. Where do we go from here? It seems like a more sideways movement. If we're ranging at, what is this number? 26, a high 26 or low 27 number price for Hyperliquid seems to be where the resistance is at. Might take some more move from Bitcoin because it seems like some of these slow movers like Solana or Hyperliquid or whatever else we're about to review that hasn't broken its uptrend kind of got delayed because they saw what happened with Bitcoin first. Yeah, it had a good rise and some of them poked above the downtrend and validation. But ultimately, you know, Bitcoin did a quick reverse or, you know, the Uno reverse card on everybody. And these other altcoins were like, oh, it's a fake out. It's not real. So we're just going to stay in a downtrend until, you know, because we're slow. I feel like they should already flip their trends over and they're just late. Meaning that potential good opportunities, maybe if you trying to get these a bit early. I don't know. Everything is still really cheap regardless if we get a new uptrend. Even if we're talking Hyperliquid sub $30, still a really good price in my opinion. If we're going spot long, right? So there's that. Sui, same deal, okay? 150 was where that downtrend invalidated and a resistance. We did not break it, meaning that downtrend continues. Current price is 144. I'm still alive on some of these positions. Impressive. Breaking 150 should take us to 156, as I think I might have mentioned this on Sunday. But we didn't have enough strength to push forward for whatever reason. I guess same deal, right? We saw what Bitcoin kind of did. So no big move here. Same with Chainlink. Okay, $13, big resistance, didn't break that. We hit a high of 1301, sure. But we since dropped back to where we originally started, 1241. No big changes here for Chainlink. I'm still bullish with it. I still think we can rise. The only thing that was a bit concerning was like looking at these. I think I mentioned that before, the lowest points that we've hit on Chainlink. This is our lowest point. This is a higher low, which could have been the start of a new uptrend, which I did believe over here until eventually we went lower than the next lower low. I mean, lower high, sorry. No, higher low. My gosh. I'm mixing up my terms and I'm confusing everyone. We did this, right, which invalidated whatever uptrend that we were dreaming of up until, you know, kind of recently, but it's not really confirmed just yet because we haven't really made too much of a higher high. We're trying to, right, whatever these levels are. And we are about to face a downtrend very soon, which should occur around $13.44, maybe. If we do rise, if things start going well this week, that's where I see a barrier for Chainlink. BitTensor's up 2%, same deal, no trend change just yet. Seems like the highest point that we were seeing on Sunday's stream, nothing has really changed since then. We only had a dump, and now potential recovery that we are heading toward. 224, like I said, for BitTensor. The downtrend invalidates at 234. So about $10 away from that, and this is a volatile coin, so might be able to see something happen here. Aptos is at 172. This is one of the early movers that flipped their trend up because it was so painfully oversold. Deserved. I'm happy to see this. This was my little projection for it, and if I was to buy, would have been around 163, which it didn't really drop there. The lowest point we dropped to was 166. I don't know if it's still going to be good regardless of where you buy if this uptrend does continue, because of how oversold this is. I do think Aptos will be one of the biggest gainers if things actually start recovering really hard. So we didn't get the drop that I really wanted yet. We still can, and we'll still be in an uptrend because it invalidates at 158. We have a support at 159.8 almost. That's 160, let's just say, the support level. That's why I kind of wanted to enter around 160 to 163, I think is an appropriate area to enter, because I'm saying 163 because I do expect it to maybe go sub 160. But as soon as the swing happens and it starts confirming that that was the bottom, we're about to head higher and the support level actually worked, then you would want to go long and follow the movement from there and hopefully get some good profits. Maybe that's what I'll do if I get the chance to. So I'm going to keep this drawing here just in case. Okay. That's all I have for the technical analysis. I talked way too much, didn't I? We have way more to talk about because we have so much news to cover. To the point where I had to separate this into 2 whole tabs, something I've never done. So allow me to get ready here. The face of shame. First of all, we talked about the Russia-Ukraine peace talks that were happening, kind of. Zelensky visited Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and before that meeting, Trump called Putin and said, hey, you want that peace meeting? He's like, yes. And Trump is like, okay, great. I'll let Zelensky know that you guys want peace. Zelensky said, yeah, we want peace too, but there's 2 issues remain. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, how it will function, and the issue of territories. Those are the 2 points that remain in the 20-point peace plan document, is what Zelensky explained. The big disagreement is in those 2 points, the nuclear power plant and the territory stuff. I think, well, I don't know much about the nuclear power plant. I'm neutral on it. Whatever happens, happens. Just don't do Chernobyl again. But the territory stuff, Ukraine is going to have to give up some territory to Russia. And it's going to be a large percentage of territory that really good. Okay. They're going to have to give up a huge sum of territory in order for Russia to be happy and give up on the, or not give up, but just end the war overall. Because if they refuse to give up any land, Russia will just take over the whole rest of the thing, right? He noted that due to the lack of agreement on these points, full finalization of the document is not yet possible. At the same time, the president emphasized that the issue of security guarantees has already been fully agreed upon. That's where Europe will actually fork some money, finally, because it seems to only have been the US. Not only the US, I mean, in Canada, we gave the guy $2.5 billion last week. So, can you blame him? Zelensky and Putin may speak by phone for the first time in more than 5 years. Sunday's talks between Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky could pave the way for the first call between Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin in over 5 years, Fox News reports. The difficulty is that Putin refused to speak with Zelensky since July 2020, when they last communicated over the Wagner scandal and the failed operation to detain Russian militants. Since then, Zelensky has repeatedly attempted to contact Putin, but Putin has refused, a Fox News source has said. So it seems like from this narrative that Putin is the one that's being like, oh, I don't want to talk to Zelensky. I'm just going to keep invading Ukraine and taking over territory. Okay. And by the looks of it, it's like Zelensky is trying to, Putin, please talk to me so we can end the war. So what happened? This happened. Russia claims President Vladimir Putin's residence was attacked by Ukraine. And this is while the man Zelensky was still in the United States, arguably maybe still just finishing talking with Trump, right? Putin tells President Trump his home was struck. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke out against the claims online, calling it typical Russian lies to try to justify additional attacks against Ukraine. And we're going to be discussing the two differences here. Who's right? We don't know. Russia claims Ukraine did this attack. Ukraine says, no, you're lying and you just want to prolong the war. So now it seems like Ukrainians are the ones that are trying to find some sort of end to the war via peace. But Russia's like, no, you guys clearly don't because you keep bombing us. And it's kind of true because while that was all happening on Sunday, we did also cover, a large Ukrainian drone swarm attack was happening at the very same time as the peace talks were happening. So the war's still going on, really. And the peace talks just seem to be a photo op or a show for all of us to enjoy. Kyiv launches drone attack on Russian presidential residence. Moscow to revise negotiating position. Kyiv carried out a drone attack overnight on December 29, targeting the Russian president's state residence in Novgorod region, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said. Now, we're going to talk about Lavrov a lot. A lot of people are saying that he's lying. He's not telling the truth, and it's typical for him to lie to justify another attack maybe against Ukraine or justify them being like, well, now we don't want to do any peace talks because they try to kill our president. Sure. They claim Russian air defenses destroyed 91 UAVs and there were no casualties or damage. Lavrov stated that Russia has already determined the targets and timing of a retaliatory strike. There you go. No peace talk, retaliatory strike. Moscow will not withdraw from the negotiation process, but Russia's negotiating position will be revised in light of what Lavrov described as the Kyiv regime's final shift towards a policy state of terrorism. So they're using this as kind of like a false flag if it's actually, fake. I don't know. Or who else would have sent the drones, right? It would have been Ukraine. On Putin's residence, well, they claim that it was targeted. None of them actually dealt any damage. They were all stopped by the good air defenses that they have. So we don't know for sure. Trump and Putin held another call afterwards, Ushakov confirmed. The key points. Putin drew Trump's attention to Kyiv's drone attack on his state residence in the Novgorod region. Trump was shocked and outraged by Kyiv's attack on Putin's state residence, saying he could not have imagined such insane actions. I was literally just talking to the guy. Trump himself said that the U.S. administration, thank God we didn't give the guy tomahawks because our missiles are so good, by the way, that they would have gone through your air defenses and absolutely destroyed your residence with you inside it if you were there. Putin said, it's okay, Trump. The Kyiv terrorist actions will not go unanswered. Trump said the drone attack on Russian president's residence would affect the U.S.'s approaches in dealings with Zelensky. So it's not a good look for Ukraine. Russia will change their stance on the negotiations. They're going to tighten things even more. If you thought that the nuclear power plant, if that was the big issue, and the giving up the territories, the second issue, is going to go by easy, no, it's just going to get a lot harder now after this drone attack. And same thing with the United States. They're going to probably favor Russia more in any type of future negotiation, whatever the case may be. So it's not looking good for Zelensky or Ukraine. That's what I take from all this. The drone attack on Putin's residence took place virtually immediately after U.S.-Ukraine talks in Mar-a-Lago. Kiev used long-range drones to carry out the attack on the Russian president's state residence. Putin made it very clear to Trump that Russia's position will be revised in response to the state terrorism being carried out by Kiev. Trump and his advisors briefed Putin on the outcome of talks with Zelensky. Some results reached between Trump and Zelensky, in Russia's view, leave Kiev room to evade its obligations. So he's not even liking the results of the talks that they had so far. The US said it advised Zelensky not to seek a pause on the front line. Putin and Trump agreed in a friendly manner to maintain dialogue. So they're still going to be talking. What did I just do? Okay, I already removed the bookmark. Next. I pulled up multiple posts talking about kind of the same thing, so I don't know if this is going to repeat itself. Yes, we know the Ukrainian regime carried out an attack against the residence of President Putin. All drones were shot down, but the Kremlin has vowed it won't go unpunished, and the position will be revised. The Russian Ministry of Defense has been tasked with picking out targets across Kiev in retaliatory strikes. Okay, so they're preparing something else to happen. Just when we thought this week was going to be excellent. I don't think it will really impact our meme coins too much, even if they do just start going at each other's capital cities. The US president did not oppose after they said that they will pay a heavy price, sure. It's all not so clear if the Kremlin will actually strike government residency in Kiev or take it out in other forms, but it's clear Moscow is furious. Zelensky also put out a statement calling it a lie, but that's not going to change anything at this point. I mean, the missiles were sent. They were shot down. It's real. It happened. Zelensky saying, no, it's fake. We didn't try to attack your residence. Okay, dude, what are we really doing here? So, yeah. Foreign Minister Lavrov says that happened. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. What else do we got? Stop that. Stop that. What is going on? Just want to unbookmark this. Trump is making genuine efforts to bring peace to Ukraine, says Lavrov. So Russia is siding with the United States and all this. Like, look, Americans, look, the Ukrainians are the bad guys in this war. President Trump is taking genuine and serious efforts almost on a daily basis to find a solution, while trying not to bend under the pressure from the Kyiv regime and Europeans. We hope that America will be able to keep the agreements reached in Anchorage, says Lavrov. Another thing that he said is that it was nearly 100 drones that was launched. It was 94. Zelensky denied the claim, saying that Russia is preparing a strike on government buildings in Kyiv, and that there is no independent confirmation of Lavrov's statement. Russia's Ministry of Defense earlier reported that it was 41 Ukrainian drones that were intercepted overnight and in the morning over the Belgorod region, but it made no mention of drone activity in the Novgorod region. So they're saying it didn't even happen in that same region, other sources. And local media have also not reported any such incidents. Okay, so wait, did it really happen or not? That's what we don't even know. Like, who's lying here? And people are not willing to trust Foreign Minister Lavrov. 91, okay, it was 94 or 91. What is the number? 91 Ukrainian drones targeted Putin's residence is what was alleged. But the Ministry of Defense reports that it shot down just 89 all over Russia. So it was not like all of them went straight to Novgorod, where Putin's residence is. It was more scattered and spread out, and maybe one or two of them were headed there, but the majority were just in different places all over Russia, is what it says, with the Krasnodar region in southern Russia being heavily targeted. And they shot down 18 drones over the Novgorod region. Okay, there's your answer. It's only 18 drones that actually went to that area. Hey, even one is enough, right? Looks like the Russians forgot to coordinate their numbers. Yeah, the numbers are all over the place. We don't know if they're lying or if they're making this up as an excuse to continue the war, prolong it, and continue taking over Ukraine and even attacking. You attacked our government, we can attack yours now. That's the green light. That could be the instance here. United Arab Emirates strongly condemns Ukraine's attempt to target Russian President Putin's residence, of course. And we also have this going on actively. More than 100,000 people in Moscow suffer from a blackout after a massive Ukrainian drone strike on energy infrastructure in the Moscow region. It's the first time parts of Moscow are losing power following the Ukrainian drone strikes. Yeah, maybe it is a good thing we didn't give the guys tomahawks. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Do you guys want Russia to prevail to Ukraine? What do we even do here? I just want that whole war to stop. Please. And if they both listen to me say to stop the war, maybe they will stop the war. Have you seen that meme where it's like... before I get into this, can I even find it? It's so funny. I really want to find it. Okay, hold on. Stop war meme comic. Yes, it is this one. This is so dumb. Okay, get ready. So this is the meme where some girl is looking at her phone with the news saying that the war continues. She posts a selfie and saying, please stop war, with herself crying. Not Russian soldiers, just soldiers read that. They're like, look what this girl posted. Oh my gosh, she said to stop the war. Then they like go to the front lines. Like, guys, look what she posted. She said to stop war, please. Oh, you're right. Yes. She is so right. We should stop war. And everybody is peacefully happy. That's the meme. That's me right there, by the way. I'm that lady posting that meme. No, not really, though. Did I say meme? It's not a meme. She just posted some, I don't know, Instagram post saying, please stop war. Okay. What else happened? We had Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also arriving at that same day. And yesterday itself was the announcement, press conference, meeting, whatever it was, with Donald Trump. This is the 5th visit by him, by the way. While meeting with Netanyahu, Trump announced that America launched its first land strike against Venezuela at a drug manufacturing facility. Now, this was alluded to heavily in the past couple of weeks, talking about, oh, we're going to do land strikes on Venezuela. And reporters were asking him, like, how are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it to? Are you sure? Were you serious about that kind of stuff? Is Pete Hegseth going to do something about it? You know, that kind of stuff. And ultimately, it happened. There you go. We're going to talk more about this, and then we're going to go back to Netanyahu later. U.S. conducts its first known land-based strike inside Venezuela. The New York Times report that U.S. officials have confirmed the destruction of a major drug-related facility in Venezuela. This marks the first acknowledged onshore strike in the ongoing U.S. campaign against narco-terrorists linked to the Maduro regime. Verify. Yep. Confirmed strike. No details on location or method were provided at the time. Well, I have some news for you. It was in San Francisco Maracaibo Metro. Did they actually call this San Francisco in Venezuela? That is so... What do you even call this? Is this real? I want to look this up. San Francisco, Venezuela. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. It is literally a Spanish name. Francisco, Venezuela. Oh, there's multiple actually. San Francisco, Zulia, Merida, Bolivar. Which one is it? Maracaibo. I'm just gonna look up Maracaibo. Venezuela. Is this real place? Looks like it is. Okay. Yeah, Maracaibo is a place. So this is the area. Here's Venezuela, right? And the strike happened right over here next to Colombia, almost. Deserved. And it would have been in the port area, apparently, where that strike happened. A precise ground operation attributed to the U.S. hit facilities producing cocaine precursors. No warning, direct action. Venezuela shifts from diplomacy to an operational theater. Narco infrastructure becomes a target. Control on the ground is slipping. Silence from authorities, tension in Zulia. Okay. Washington shifts from containment to direct action. For years, U.S. policy toward Venezuela focused on pressure, sanctions, and maritime interdiction. This is why there's a bit of opposition to this, I guess, right? If confirmed, striking a major drug production facility on Venezuelan soil marks a clear escalation and a deliberate shift in strategy. This move signals that Washington is no longer satisfied with chasing boats at sea It is now targeting infrastructure that enables the flow of narcotics in the first place. Geopolitically, this changes the equation in the Caribbean, sending a warning not only to Caracas, but to regional actors who assumed US action would remain limited and indirect. So this is kind of like a signal like, hey, we're serious about it. Stop drug. It also raises the cost for the Maduro regime by demonstrating that sovereignty will not shield criminal networks tied to state power. The lack of immediate details only heightens the message. Pressure is now kinetic, unpredictable, and closer to home. The step also recalibrates deterrence. Direct action on land signals that escalation dominance now rests with Washington, forcing adversaries to weigh retaliation against the risk of further strikes that dismantle core revenue streams. I'm not reading the rest of it, but you get the point. It's happening. So there's that. Trump also clarified, we're going back to Netanyahu here, by the way. If Hamas is not disarmed like they promised, apparently they haven't yet, which is crazy, any number of the 59 countries who signed on to the peace deal will completely wipe out Hamas. It won't be the United States. It won't be Israel. It's going to be one of the 59 countries who is going to get involved in taking care of getting rid of the rest of Hamas, right? The world agrees Hamas must go. Sure. President Trump also said that the US will have to bomb Iran if they attempt to build up arms again. And this is what I fear for 2026. Maybe we continue the war again. Remember what happened in... I mean, it wasn't even that bad, was it? We went from 109,000 Bitcoin to 99,000 Bitcoin. And I panic sold at the very bottom, and then we reversed back upward as if nothing happened. Trump says, I hope they are not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but to very quickly eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading. Meaning that they kind of are, maybe. Trump confirms support for renewed strikes in Iran. For if there's ballistic stuff that they're rebuilding, yeah, we're going to have to strike that. If there's nuclear stuff that they're working on, we're going to strike that fast. So one will be yes, absolutely. The other one will be yes, immediately. So no way out of it. And this was kind of predicted that we expected this from Netanyahu. This was the plan all along, to come to the United States to get the green light from Trump to any potential strikes on Iran if they are still building nuclear weapons or anything like that. So yeah, we kind of talked about that beforehand. Netanyahu announces Israel is awarding President Trump the Israel Prize. It is the country's highest cultural honor. It has not been won by a non-Israeli in nearly 80 years. Scratch that, since 1991. Sure, long enough. That was like 100 years ago or something. So congratulations, I guess. And my last bit of on this segment. This is only half of it, by the way. We have so much more news. Elon Musk holds a call with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to discuss developing artificial intelligence technology in Israel. There you go. Buy Palantir stock. Okay, my Opera just crashed. Please tell me that it... Okay. Awesome. So it deleted everything. Thanks for crashing, Opera. Wow. So it looks like we're not going to get into the rest of the news tonight. Are you serious, dude? Yeah, it deleted everything. All the tabs I had set up and ready are gone now. Okay. All right. What do I do? Crisis in the middle of a stream. Get out of here. We improvise. FOMC meeting, or we're going to have to probably leave Minnesota till tomorrow. That's crazy. I even titled the whole stream about it. Come on, man. I had so much ready. That is so annoying. How do I prevent this in the future? You can't? I mean, to be fair, I had like 30 tabs open. Probably more than that. All right, all right. We'll start from scratch. FOMC minutes. Did we get anything here? Summary. We might cut rates, we might not cut rates. Is that actually true? And considering the outlook for monetary policy, this happened at 2 p.m. by the way they released this. Participants expressed a range of views about the restrictiveness of the committee's policy stance. Most participants judged that further downward adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate would likely be appropriate if inflation declined over time as expected. It kind of is. So, yes, rate cuts, but then comes the next part. With respect to the extent and timing of additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, some participants suggested that, under their economic outlooks, it would be appropriate to keep the target range unchanged for some time after a lowering of the range at this meeting. Okay, remember the key terms that they use. Most participants versus some participants. Most is more than some, which means that there are more people, there's a higher likelihood of rate cuts. You got to pay attention to the language that they use when they release this stuff. So, yes, it is likely that we will still be getting some form of rate cuts in 2026. Some say that, oh, we're probably not going to change it for some time. All right, pal. But this comes with a caveat, of course. If inflation does decline over time, as expected, we are expecting inflation to decline over time. And that is with tariffs already in effect, by the way. Maybe they'll get removed. Who knows? That's going to affect the economy in a different way, in my opinion, though, because we have to refund everyone. What are the odds of that right now? I have to check Polymarket. Tariffs, illegal, Supreme Court. Okay, thank you. It's just not gonna... Just gonna delete everything I typed, no problem. Tariffs, Supreme Court ruling in favor of Trump tariffs, 30%. Has it been rising at least? I do want them to rule in favor, like I've mentioned before, and I'm against the majority of people in thinking that maybe I don't know something that everybody else does know. Why won't it load? Whatever, we pay for internet for a reason. This is interesting. This is for the rate cuts expectations for January. We're not expecting a rate cut in January. That was fine. We didn't really expect one anyway. I didn't expect it anyway. Flashbang warning. I do want to review what the odds are for the rest of the aggregated numbers, right? It's slowly on the rise. We were at worse numbers. We were at 21% at one point. Huge drop in expectations over here for whatever reason. It was a 50-50 where it started for the Supreme Court ruling in favor of Trump tariffs. That has dropped, but it's slowly on the rise. I like to see that. Yeah, it'll be short-term bearish, but long-term bullish, okay? First rate cut is happening March, according to everyone. And second rate cut is happening in July, according to everyone else. And that's it. 2 rate cuts for next year. The Fed projected only 1 rate cut. Markets are being a little more ambitious, more aggressive, more hawkish on what they expect for rate cuts next year. The Fed is kind of playing it slow, safe. No rate cut for January. We got a break. We got a pause. January 28 meeting. And then March 18, we get a fat rate cut. Almost 60 to 40% chance that happens. I think... I don't mind it. Like, it's saying for sure we will get that rate cut because it's a 92% chance by April. I wouldn't mind if it's either here or here. As long as we do get the 2 rate cuts for next year, then we're good. Let's see. Policymakers broadly agree that inflation has made meaningful progress, but it's not yet at the target. Sure. Services inflation and wage dynamics remain areas of concern. Sure. The labor market is cooling gradually, not deteriorating sharply. I think it is deteriorating sharply, but okay. Your logic. Several members emphasized that rate cuts are not pre-committed. Policy decisions will remain meeting by meeting and data dependent. Now we don't have an excuse to not have economic data anymore because shutdown was way behind us and everything got delayed. You did your thing. You delayed it all for 2025. Congratulations. Now we're starting 2026 with fresh new data. And cutting too early could risk re-accelerating inflation. Trump wants rates at 1%, and you're concerned about a small 50 basis point rate cut next year. Give me a break. While some participants acknowledge the risk of over-tightening, the committee is not yet confident that inflation is sustainably under control. You hear that, Trump? Get inflation under control and you'll have your rate cuts. And also get Kevin Hassett in there. Bottom line, the minutes reinforce a higher for longer but flexible stance. They do not support imminent rate cuts, which explains the muted market reaction. And I would assume also Trump is not happy to see this. Didn't he also just come... he came out to say Jerome Powell is foolish again, I think is what he said. I know he's been saying that in the past a lot. He also called him a, what was that word? A nincompoop, whatever that meant. Apparently it's a real word. So yeah. And foolish, he's dumb, he's too late. Might have even dropped the R slur on him, I don't know. In short, no policy pivot here, just confirmation of patience. Trade with intention, not impulse. Alright, pal. Yep, I think that is really it then. I'm just going to talk about two more things that I do have, because I have so many stuff bookmarked and it's just going to take me so long to reopen everything. So first things first is, what's the guy's name? Wait, is this real? Why is this privated? What? 0 followers? What is that? Anyway, I was looking for micro strategy. They did buy more Bitcoin. It wasn't posted on this account, of course. It was posted on Sailor's account. Why would the MicroStrategy account post that they bought Bitcoin? That's just... that would make sense, right? Of course they're not going to do that. Tame Your Bear, that's funny. This is the first... Alright, I'll go through this in order. MicroStrategy purchased 1,229 Bitcoins. It's not a lot of money. $108 million. You can do billions, come on. But it's fine. They bought it at an average price of $88,568. That's basically where we are right now, at $88,700 almost, or rising. Fine. But at least it wasn't, you know, a last minute, oh, by the way, we did a green dot instead of an orange dot. Sure, thanks. Metaplanet also purchased Bitcoin, 4,279. This is a good buy. $451 million at... How did you buy it at 105,000? Is that your average price? Oh, this is during Q4. Okay, it was not last week then. During Q4 2025. Well, the Q4 is not fully over yet, but I guess like this is the last weekend where you could post about Q4. Or maybe not. I don't know. You should include the last couple of days of the year for the end of 2025. Okay, whatever. I thought they purchased this over the weekend. That's why I was a bit more excited, but no, it wasn't. And you purchased at an average of 105,000. That is pain. Don't worry, so did I. That was my average price while I got liquidated. I had 5x leverage, so 80,000 Bitcoin, I was gone. Sure. They now hold 35,102 Bitcoins, acquired for $3.78 billion at an average price of 107,606. You think you have it rough? These Japanese MicroStrategy copies have an average price of Bitcoin at 107,000. You're early. You're fine. Don't worry. Okay. There was that I wanted to talk about, and the manipulation thing. It was from Bull Theory. I'll just go through these real quick. Where was it? This is too far back. This is way too far back. Here it is. The weekend manipulation in crypto, Bitcoin pumped $3,000, breaking 90,000, liquidating $103 million worth of shorts on Sunday night, which we saw happen live. But then Monday morning, not even in the morning, like early morning, this is 3 a.m., 4 a.m. drop that we saw, dumped $2,700, liquidating $40 million worth of longs, erasing the entire pump. Hey, at least we didn't liquidate more longs than shorts this time. And it explains that the drop, that's why I didn't go lower, of course. But still, people are just not learning their lesson. They go max long as soon as they see price pump like this. Maybe they're doing the thing that I talked about at the beginning of the stream, where, you know, you enter, put a stop loss, and let the price continue rising. You keep buying as the price continues rising. You make even more profit until you eventually decide to sell, or you get out at neutral and nothing happened, or you're dumb enough to not use anything. You go max long and you get liquidated. So, too ambitious. Don't do that. What else did I want to talk about? I really think that was it. We're going to cover Minnesota tomorrow. A lot of stuff with the Somalians there, the Department of Justice getting heavily involved, FBI, Elon Musk, Tim Walz. We talked about the fact that he's likely to get charged with a federal crime rather than become president. He has more odds of that happening to him than becoming president, which is pretty funny. So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow because, first of all, we're out of time. I was planning to cover all of that tonight, but as you saw, my Opera crashed and deleted all the tabs that I had open, and I'm not going to reopen all of that stuff. It was so much. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. The other basic crypto stuff I did cover, and the war stuff, I'm happy at least I was able to cover all of that. So, great. My expectations for this week is still good. We're probably not going to experience a lot of volatility on Thursday because it is New Year's Day, markets are closed, and typically there is low volatility even in the crypto markets, something that is open 24/7. You're just going to see it flatline, similar to what we see basically every Saturday, 0% movement. So there's that. I do want to also check, are ETFs buying and what is the RSI heat map going at? ETFs are kind of starting to buy back. They notice that the downtrend is kind of over. Good. I doubt it's the same for Solana though. Maybe Ethereum green? Yes. Not green, but like white, I guess, in this case. They're buying, okay? It's not a negative net outflow, right? Solana, we talked about this, right? It's kind of dead, the amount of volume. Only 2.9 million yesterday. Today, only 5.2 million inflow. It's not a lot, but whatever. It's something. What is rising excessively? Plasma. Uh-oh. Remember Plasma, guys? Is it even still listed? 11% up today. 16 cents. I'm trying to remember the prices that I bought this at. It was 30 cents for sure. So this thing dropped a lot then. My eyes are closed. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't remember how low it dropped. Okay, I'll zoom out again. 11 cents. That was its lowest point, and that happened December 18. I was not looking at the coin by then for sure. I think I might have gotten out... It was around 30 cents. I would have gotten out at one of these prices, or maybe this pump over here I might have sold in like barely neutral territory, probably. It was in November. I find that likely. And then everything else sold off over here. But we're kind of on our way back up from 11 cents. Our lowest point, December 18, we've recovered 48% so far. Pretty good. Highly inflationary coin, though. Don't expect this thing to ever see $1 ever in its lifespan. But the uptrend is there. Wonderful to see. Good for trading. I mean, it's the same type of super oversold pressure that Aptos kind of experienced. Like if I switch over to Aptos chart, you're going to notice the exact difference, the exact similarity, sorry, here. Flipping in the trend and how oversold it is, right, compared to where it was. Pretty similar chart. And similar tokenomics as well. Aptos is also pretty inflationary. What else is going on? WIF, if you still care about meme coins, there's your chance. Go max long on WIF. I would not, ever. Maybe I'll regret that. Let's have a look at WIF. I never look at it. Yeah. We're buying this in 2026. We didn't even... Okay, I'm impressed, actually. Or should I even be impressed by the October 10 candle? We did not drop as low as the October 10 low. 13 cents was that low, and we're at 27, currently at our lowest. Very oversold right now. Spot would be a great buy, but honestly, if you look at like the weekly chart of this, it's going to look like the Trump meme coin. A little better than Trump meme coin, actually, because it had a second pump that went a little higher at least. Barely. For him being worth $4, almost $5, this thing is now 27 cents. And this happened in 2024. Impressive how these meme coins can drop. Oh, that looked good. Let me go back to weekly chart here. Never mind. Okay, yeah, I think that's all for tonight then. I've covered at least what I wanted to cover. Not all of it though. We'll talk more about Minnesota tomorrow. Minnesota. And whatever else happens tomorrow. What other stuff are we getting tomorrow again? I'll also be really excited. I actually don't even know if I will be able to stream tomorrow, depending on when my desk arrives, because I have to like actually piece it all together, right? We're getting Jolt's jobs data. That's not that important. Nothing will matter for January economic data because we're already pricing in the fact that we're not getting a rate cut. The odds of that happening is not in our favor. So really nothing else is happening. Oh, non-farm payrolls is on Friday. That's next week though. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, sorry. Jobless claims. That's what we're getting tomorrow. Okay, that's going to be a little more interesting to look at, but not much is going to change. It's not going to impact prices too much. And that's about it. Thursday market's closed. Hopefully we keep the upward trajectory, but I don't think it's going to be too explosive, so don't expect that either. I'd give you a highest at 92,500. We were able to accurately predict this. We were able to accurately build a CME gap, accurately bounce off the uptrend, the downtrend, to now form an uptrend. Henceforth, I will delete this. Up only from here for Bitcoin until 100,000. Can't wait. Oh, I remember one post talking about Bitcoin's price, hitting 90,000. Guess who had something to say about that? Take a wild guess. Peter Schiff talked about it. You want to know what he said? Guys, look, Bitcoin is back above 90,000. That's another opportunity to sell. And I hate to say this, but he was right. If you did sell at 90,000, you were fine. And I should have. I was pretty tempted to, actually. Like, after that stream ended on Sunday night, I was like, dude, I could just sell, make a quick $40, $50 here and maybe rebuy. But what if it just doesn't drop? This looks way too bullish. And it looks like we could just continue higher. I did see that RSI was at an overbought level. Right over here. I forgot to tell below. But okay, whatever. That was the sell signal. It's okay. We're on our way back up there. We'll be fine. I think tomorrow will be great. Watch tomorrow be horrible and we break this fake uptrend or whatever we've got going on. That'd be pretty funny. Something catastrophic would have to happen, honestly. I think people are taking it easy and people will start rebuying after, their tax loss harvesting techniques. Sure. There's a great opportunity to sell for loss in December, so now people will start buying back for January, hopefully. That's what I see. Okay. Yeah, then that'll be all for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. Hope you subscribe, and I hope to see you tomorrow if I am able to, put all my computers together on time and all the screws in place and cleaning. Of course, I'd have to clean this whole thing. I haven't cleaned it in a while. It's nothing too disgusting. It's just dust. Or maybe there's a spider living under my desk that I don't know about. That's what I dislike about this old desk too, is that it's so heavy, so chunky. It's very antique. designed, right? So it's got like the edges, they look like the crown ceiling. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, right? Like a baseboard on the floor. It's got like the lumps around it, like all across the edges. So if you want to like clamp something on here, like I used to want to clamp my mic on the edge of the desk, you can't do that because of the way it's shaped. It's got like these swivels and slopes and bumps and stuff like that. So it's pretty hideous. I don't know. We had this one since, you know, back where we used to live in our other house. Terrible. And it's all, like I said, it's so heavy, and there's just this like small open space on the floor under the cabinet, and it's so heavy you can't move it. And I'm sure it's like really dusty and dirty down there, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a nest of insects. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that disgusting, okay? I clean my stuff pretty regularly. I'm pretty confident that there is not going to be an arachnid down there. We'll be fine. The other thing is going to be all these books. Where do I put them all? I don't know. I'm still excited though. Also, I have these controllers, these PS4 controllers. I don't play PS4. It's just collecting dust on the side. Hey, I'm selling my PS4. If anybody really wants to buy, like, let me know. I sell for very cheap. And I'll use your money to lose money on Bitcoin, and it will be great, and I'll do that live for you. How about that? Okay, I've like clicked to erase this like 15 times, but it's not erasing, so I guess I have this permanent futures listing announcement on my feed. Oh great, no data. What is collect? What is FKH? Don't buy that stuff. Yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye.